Listen to Manchester City are fantastic, but let's just not forget we turned up to their ground missing Odegaard and Marino, and effing we slapped them if they were fit. And I wanted to ask a little bit about that as well, because Arsenal have got a lot of criticism in the last 24 hours or so now about the way they played and the way they performed at the Etihad. What's your take on that, Tom? Do you think Arsenal's criticism that they didn't try to win, they sat behind the ball? Do you think the criticism is fair, or is it not looking at the context of the game?
Look at where the criticism comes from. It comes from people who don't want Arsenal to win. Anyone with a brain, when you're down to 10 men, realizes the smart thing to do is get men behind the ball, especially when you're winning and you have something to hold on to. That you set up deep, tough to break down, and that's exactly what Arsenal did. People A, hate it because they want Arsenal to lose, and B, hate it because Arsenal are actually quite good at it. So it's not like they're getting broken down and they can't get back out again. They very well, on another day, if they just switch on a corner, leave after a ridiculously good 45 minutes defensively, and to narrow it down to just, they chucked everyone in the box. No, it was very tactical what they were doing. And I'm sure there's people a lot smarter than me who can break down, but basically they were just funneling it to Kyle Walker to hit it from the edge of the box, or Ruben Dias to hit it from the edge of the box. The kind of players who you want hitting it from the edge of the box because it's not going to threaten. It was
they couldn't get it out wide. That was a problem. They couldn't get the ball. You did the same thing to us. Do you remember
when we went down to 9 against you? It was,
and you got applauded for that. The media was like, what? And let's be honest, we scored, but it was literally like the 90th.
We scored for you because you couldn't break us down.
We had to put it on this point, but you were applauded. You literally did the exact same thing. Your defensive line was solid. You did that with 8 outfield players, 9. Like Arsenal just they literally restricted the wide areas, and I don't really know what Guardiola was doing, because if you're going to go with 2 wingers, they've got to be like. I mean, Savinho for that first goal absolutely cooked Calafiori. Then Arsenal changed their game plan, and City, it was like, I was waiting to see Pep.
To be fair, a certain man let City down twice. Well, I let him down twice. He got dragged out of position for one and didn't get back in time, and then whatever he was doing on the corner with Gabriel, I don't get. I was shocked Kyle Walker even started the game, and it felt like a bit
Rico Lewis has got to come in.
Yeah, you're watching Kyle Walker in that game. He needs to take 3 touches to actually get the ball under control. And when you're trying to break down a block that's that well organised, you need to be quick and incisive with it. And it would go from one side to the other dead quick, bang, 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 bang. And then Kyle Walker, crap first touch. He's chasing it down, takes another one. All of a sudden, Arsenal back in shape, and City has to do it all over again. I do think that he should have brought on... I think he should have taken the defender off. The moment the second half started and Saka went on, a defender should have went off, and he should have trusted in Diaz and Akanji and Gvardiol 1v1, or not 1v1, but on their own to be good enough to defend any counter-attack from Havertz and Martinelli, because Arsenal weren't setting up to attack in that half. They should have got the extra man on, and I felt they should have attacked in the wider areas a little bit more. It's hard to break down a low block, obviously, but the joy they got was from combinations out wide, leading to cutbacks into the box, which were either clear behind for a corner or put in an effort towards goal. And it just felt like City, until about the 70th minute, weren't doing that. It was a case of pass it round the edge of the box. Oh, there's half a yard of space. Go on, Kyle, hit it. Oh, it's over the bar.
Or Diaz.
or Diaz, or Akanji, or anyone who doesn't have a knack for hitting it from range. And Arsenal be gutted that they didn't get, 3 points out of that, and it would have been one hell of a defensive performance if they had. It would have been one for
it would have been a historic win. Ches, do you think Arsenal's approach was correct in the second half?
Yeah, I don't know why people think they should have attacked City with 10 men. Like, I don't really get the outrage. It's a bit weird. Like Chelsea done that.
We are, mate. Because he did it, and we got.
Exactly. Look at that performance. Exactly. So I don't think people are talking way overboard about it. Yes, the approach is risky because if we conceded a chance earlier, Man City were a lot better in the attack, then maybe you could have lost the game. But because they trust the defense, They trust the centre backs. They trust the structure they're in. It kind of played into advantage. But if Man City, I would say, is more of a slight on Man City than Arsenal, because Man City were better attacking wise, breaking down low blocks like that. Then maybe we're sitting here saying it was the wrong choice. But because they got the draw in the end, it's not in hindsight. So the result kind of dictated whether it was the right decision or not, and they got the draw. So that's it.
Nobbins in the first half was one of the most amazing games of football I think we've witnessed in many years in the Premier League. I love the fact that you and Arsenal have what I call a proper rivalry, where your players don't really like each other. There's needle. There was great goals. I mean, City's opener was amazing. Arsenal then came back into the game. They then took over. They went 2-1 up. We then get the red card. I mean, the second half was a weird spectacle because you're never going to really see that happen too many times in football. But just looking at the first half, there have been some claims today from the likes of Piers Morgan. I know it's Piers Morgan, but that first half was a sign of the changing of the guard and Arsenal becoming a team that, with or without Rodri, could pit them to a league title. Did you notice that about Arsenal? Were they different, or is it only 45 minutes and it's too short a sample size to judge?
10 minutes, I'd say. From the 35th minute onwards, that's when Arsenal were the better team. For me, the turning point was that Gabriel first header, which should have been a goal. Before then, I was really happy with City's performance, to be honest. Obviously, we scored the goal. Gundogan had a shot on the volley, which he just got horribly wrong. Gundogan hit the post or the crossbar from a free kick as well. I thought we were in control of the game, limited Arsenal to nothing in terms of any actual chances. Obviously, Calafiori scores a 1 in 100 goal. It's a wonderful goal. It's beautiful. And yeah, for me, the turning point was as I say, like around the 35th minute or whenever Gabriel's first header was. I think from there we just, I don't know if it was oh wow, we nearly conceded. Now we need to. They sort of like shat themselves in a way, and then Arsenal actually looked a bit more dangerous. They seemed more composed on the ball, and then they obviously scored from their corner. So I don't know if I'd look at it as like a changing of the guard sort of thing, or Arsenal were so good in that first half. Again, for me, it was the last 10 minutes, 10 minutes plus extra time. I thought that Arsenal were the better side, but in terms of like the majority of the first half, I still would have given it to City personally. I think a draw overall was a fair result, though.
I want to throw this out. There's been a lot of talk about the Trossard red card, which we've done a lot.
Can I speak on the change of the guard before you move on?
Yes, and then I want to ask you a question. Yeah, go on.
I don't think it's a change of the guard, but I think it's a mentality shift. Number one, you see how after the game, we've gotten all their players rattled, coming out with all these quotes about how we played, all the tactics, the dark arts from Akanji, Bernardo Silva, talking about the comparison between rivalries. You can really see, even with the Haaland situation, coming to Arteta, speaking to him after the game, you can clearly see we are affecting them in and after the game, and how they're performing, how they're reacting to us. And when you get that out of somebody, that shows a mentality shift. Because in the past, let's be honest, anything we tried to do to get under them or to stifle them wasn't working. Their reaction to the result last time when we defended was like, how dare they come here and defend? You know what? Now it shows, we showed in that first half we can get at them. And maybe it's not a change in the guard, because if we won, you could maybe say that. But because we played the way we did and we really got a reaction out of them that we want, which I like, by the way, it shows that they have a level of respect. Or honestly, what did they think was going to happen? Were we going to come there and bend over and just let them win after we went down to 10 men? Like, that wasn't going to happen. So I'm really happy with the performance. And that showed me 100% we have what it takes to win the league, and we have what it takes to beat Man City when they come to our ground.
There's a clear disrespect, by the way, from City to this Arsenal team. They don't respect you. They don't take you guys seriously. And I'll be very honest. For him to come out and talk about Liverpool and say, oh, at least they had one Premier League, at least they had one Champions League, oh, they used to come here and try to win. It just shows you that, number one, and no disrespect, Tom, you guys, like, that rivalry is a joke. That's why you used to say it's the friendship rivalry between Klopp and Pep. They used to kiss each other every game. You used to see Van Dijk and KDB on yachts together on vacation every summer. So that wasn't a real rivalry. You're probably the only team to come in, and I rate what Arteta is doing in terms of that, to actually rattle them and bring on a challenge for that. Like, this is the first time in a while that I've seen the Premier League. There's someone who's properly trying to tell City, no, we're coming for that crown, and we don't respect you guys. However, I will say one thing. I feel like characters need to rise in Arsenal, because you guys were always this team that played nice football, good enough to compete, win a trophy here and there, but you were never that team that dominated England. Same thing happened in the Fergie era between Arsene Wenger and United. We had the bullies, we had the Roy Keanes, we had the Yap Stems, we had the shithouse players that managed to rattle you guys all the time and win more trophies than you.
Do you know what's interesting?
When you're going to need some of these characters to rise like that. Go ahead, Terry. Sorry.
Do you know what's really interesting about you saying that, though? The first Wenger team that won the league in 98, won the league in 2001, did the Invincibles, that had those characters. I would love to get the stats. I don't know about the whole league, but in terms of the top 4 teams back then, no one used to get more red cards than Arsenal. So I know they get a lot of red cards now. There's an element where I think I'm not condoning some of the red cards they're getting now are silly. Like Trossard's yesterday. Some people have said I was maybe trying to pass the ball out. I still think he was kicking the ball away. That's my feeling on that. But I do think that when Arsenal were at their best in the Premier League era, and I can't speak about the eras I weren't born for, because I'm be honest, I'm not going back to the 80s and watching whole seasons worth of footage from every team. I ain't got the time to do that. I've got a life. But they had those players. You're obviously a lot younger than me, Staffy. You remember that maybe the slight era after that where they didn't have those players. And I think they're doing it. Where I disagree with you, Staffy, is I do think City respect Arsenal, but they're rattled by Arsenal. That's why they're saying those things. We get it as YouTubers. Just take our little world as YouTubers. How many of you, just think about your own selves in this space. And Staffy, I know you've been through this. You put it in the group chat. Gal gets it. People that they probably respect what you're doing. Oh, look, his channel's growing. Or, oh, my God, he's on this show. Oh, my God, he's doing Bleacher Report now as an example. And then you get the snipes and the digs at you. That's because, what is it? I think Drake said this. Is it like hate is jealousy and love at the same time? And that's an element in that. I think there is a respect there. But Arsenal were almost turning up and not being nice to them like Liverpool were. And I don't think what they're not used to, City, is I think they've got used to everybody being really nice to them. And that's not a dig at City either. This is amazing for the Premier League. That Man United-Arsenal rivalry in the 90s is the reason that all of our clubs are now earning, is one of the reasons that all of our clubs are earning the money. The Wenger and the Jose, Chelsea and Arsenal rivalry is a reason that the money is there now because it captivates people. And for me, although I think he probably should, it is a red card offense to throw a ball at a player's head, I fucking loved it. I thought it was great. I don't want to see any tackles that can break people's legs. I want to see fighting. I want to see the managers flicking each other's ties. That moment where Wenger stood in the stadium at Old Trafford with his arms out when he got sent off. These things are iconic and cinematic beyond just the football. And I love the fact that this could now be coming back. The only thing I'm gutted about is my team, the Arsenal Terrace. I just wish that my team was in that. I really, really do.
That video, by the way, of Haaland telling Arteta, stay humble. I swear that should be on repeat every game for the remainder of the Premier League season. Just put it out there, home or away. Every time the players go out, play that video of Haaland punking your manager, telling him to stay humble and throwing the ball in your teammate's head. That should be there every game.
He's a proper shithouse, Haaland, isn't he?
It's great. It's brilliant. I am sick and tired of seeing players switch shirts before games, halftime, cuddling.
Maddison hugging Arteta.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I want to see it back. I want to see characters right. I want to see Gabriel. The next time they play, Gabriel, the first minute you see Haaland, you leave a challenge on him. I want you to.
I know you don't like Martin. I don't want to see two-footed tackles like Martinez, but you know when he barges someone or he smashes someone, that's fine because you're not gonna hurt anybody. We need that in the game. It's amazing. Viewers, look,
I think more teams in the Premier League need to take no and rough up City and show them who's boss.
There we go.
Yo, why did you make it about us? You're the title challenger.
Because a lot of teams line up against City and they're scared. That's what I'm saying.
We try. We're just
I beat them in the Champions League final.
I beat them in the FA Cup final.
Main was the only one to beat Roger in the last 76
I want to speak on